Hi all, Kraken Latte here. Just like I promised, here is the guide on Ulduar and how to activate the various hard modes for extra loot. This is technically the 6.5 episode of the Solo Raw Gold series, so I will include the gold and time you can expect at the end. But first, let's give a warm welcome to my newest patrons, Quicksend, HallucinogenXGen, and Fat Pete Jenkins. Thank you so much for your support, and welcome to the Kraken crew! Alright, let's get into it. So, first things first. The reason I pulled Ulduar out for a separate guide from the usual videos in the series is because it's the special child of the Wrath raids. Numerous bosses within this raid have a hard mode that you can activate, which will give you a second set of loot after defeating them. As you can imagine, this affects the gold and time spent. And not every boss has one. Some are a tad tricky to activate. So that's why I decided to put this together for you. I didn't even know about some of these, so it helped me out too. On top of all that, Ulduar is now a single difficulty raid. Originally, it had normal 10 and normal 25 options that you could select before going in, but those have been combined into the more modern auto-scaling system when it was added as a time-walking raid. So you don't have to change anything before going in, it is just what it is now. With that in mind, let's dig right into how to activate each boss's hard mode if they have one. Starting with number 1, Flame Leviathan. For this first boss here, you need to talk to the Lore Keeper of Norgannon to activate it, not Bran. You also need to not kill the towers, but that's pretty easy since you can just ride all the way down to the gate before bothering with anything. I do think using the tanks that are provided for you is easier, though you can just DPS everything down without it if you really want. This is how you activate this boss's hard mode. Number 2, IGNIS the Furnace Master. From what I could find, IGNIS has no hard mode, and there's nothing special about him, so just down him and move on. Number 3, RAZORSCALE. It seems that RAZORSCALE also has no hard mode, but since this boss is not just a kill and move on type, I'll explain her anyways. Once you talk to the NPC to start the boss, mole machines will start spawning. You don't have to worry about those mobs unless they begin to attack the engineers repairing the harpoon turrets. Make sure you protect them. They need to repair all 4. Once they have, activate the 4 harpoons and RAZORSCALE will be brought down. And now you can just DPS her. If you don't kill her this first time, you'll have to repeat this until she's dead. Simple as that. Number 4, XT002 DECONSTRUCTOR. XT needs his heart destroyed. This is really easy to mess up for us high level players. Hit him once and stop DPS to let his heart come out. Once it's out, hit his heart and not him, or you don't get the hard mode. You'll know you screwed up like I did here because he won't come back for another phase, and you won't get the extra loot. It's really aggravating, so I'd even suggest taking all your gear off to ensure you can do this fight. Number 5, the Assembly of Iron. The Iron Council needs to be killed in a certain order, so kill Steelbreaker, the giant, last for hard mode. There doesn't seem to be extra loot from this though, so I think theirs is just for the achievement. Number 6, ALGALON the Observer. This boss doesn't have a hard mode so to speak, since this was the boss you had to get attuned to even do back when this was current. He's technically the end boss of the raid, but since this is not current content anymore, you can go straight to him without doing anything special when you've reached his area. I do this before all the other bosses just so I don't have to come back here after YOGG. If you want to do the attunement though, you still can. Just go kill the Assembly of Iron on hard mode like I just showed, and you'll get the discs for the quests. Number 7, KOLOGARN, the bridge boss. So supposedly he doesn't have a hard mode, but I'd always been told that leaving his arms alive is the hard mode for him. I don't think he gives any extra loot for doing that though, so easy enough I suppose. Number 8, AURIAYA. The Screaming Lady, as I like to call her, doesn't have a hard mode either for extra loot, but you do get an achievement if you leave her cats alive. Just DPS her down and move on. Number 9, HODIR. HODIR is easy enough. You have to kill him 3 minutes into the encounter, and then he'll give you access to the second chest. If you take too long, you'll only get 1, but this isn't hard since he's basically one-shottable now. I also want to point out before moving on that you do not want to talk to any of the keepers that stand around the prison circle when you've defeated them. HODIR will be the first out there now, and talking to him will give you a buff. Not talking to them is what YOGG-SARON's hard mode is, so if you want that and a chance at Mimiron's head mount, don't do it. I'm just warning you now since you can talk to them as soon as you down the first one, which is HODIR in this case. Number 10. THORIM. Just like HODIR, engage THORIM within 3 minutes to not let Sif despawn and you'll have your second chest. Run around the back to get up to him like normal, slap him once, jump down, and then you can kill him. I'll also point out to make sure that you take out all the mobs that you might have aggroed, is you can't loot these chests while in combat, and the mobs won't always follow you back out. Running back in to find out who the heck is targeting you just so you can loot is a little annoying. Number 11. FREYA. FREYA is also super simple, as you just don't kill any of her keepers, the big tree guys, around the edges of the room, and then you'll activate her hard mode for the second chest. Number 12. Mimiron. As a quick note for speedy travel, after you've killed FREYA, you can actually take the teleporter to either the tram that takes you to Mimiron, or the Spark of Imagination, which is right before his workshop. The tram is fun, and I do like trains, but when you're farming this for something, that little skip is nice. Once you're at Mimiron though, just push the big red button at the back of the room before starting him. So run around the edge to not aggro him, and then you'll get his hard mode and the second chest at the end. Number 13. General VEZAX. Now this boss has one that's a little trickier. I didn't even know about this one, so we both learned something here. When you start him, don't hit him. Don't do anything. Don't even breathe. Killing him will fail the hard mode. You'll have to wait for 8 Saronite vapors to spawn, and you don't want to use any of them to regain mana, which is as simple as not hitting them. After 8 of them spawn, the Saronite Animus will spawn. Killing this guy and then VEZAX gives you the hard mode reward. This one's a good few minute wait, so be prepared for that. Number 14. YOGG-SARON. If you heeded my warning and made sure to not talk to any of the keepers you've defeated on the way to the prison, he'll be ready in his hard mode for you. Just do Yagi Boy like normal by killing the enemies on top of Sara, and then taking out his brain once you go inside a portal. Smack him, and bammo, you've done it. His chest spawns back by the door, so make sure you don't miss that. So there we have it. That is how to do all the hard modes, to my knowledge, for each boss that has one. As you noticed, not all of them give extra loot, and some that didn't have a second chest to make it obvious. Sometimes that hard mode reward was only one whole piece of loot, so it's up to you if you want to deal with all that. It's a bit janky for some reason. As promised, here's a look at what to expect if you manage all the hard modes. It took me 32 minutes to get through this whole thing, and I got about 1,350 gold. That will vary, of course, depending on if you do all the hard modes, none of them, or just a few. I also did not take the time to clear out all the trash, as there's a lot in this raid, and I will point out that all of it is lootable, so that's something to keep in mind. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have some neat tips, or feel like I missed something on this topic, share down below. If you want to see more of me in free-form, unscripted action, check me out on my gaming channel of Latte and Tea. The link for that is in the description. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you like my content. And remember, it's never too latte.